We are live. Let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today we have a very special guest joining us, a return special guest. We usually don't do return guests this quick turnaround, but last interview we had, I felt like there was so much we didn't get a chance to talk about. Had to have her back on. We have Allison Asarch. How's it going?
Hi, I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we had talked briefly about trying to link up last week when I was supposed to be in Nashville, but Nashville's going to do its own thing every once in a while.
It does. It really does just want to do its own thing, especially when it's February and it's like, okay, yep, this is going to be the snow day where you can't do anything. And it's the icy one where you can't do anything for 3 days.
Right. And it's one of those things that was when I first saw, I think maybe last summer or fall, whenever they announced the dates for this year's CRS, I was like, that's the week that it usually does crazy.
Something happens.
It's push it a week.
Exactly.
And everything will be fine. And exactly what I thought would happen exactly happened. And I was just like, that's so funny. So
I know.
But it's still winter, I guess, technically, and
it doesn't feel like it, and I hope it stays that it doesn't feel like it. I'm a summer girly, so I want the warmth all the time.
Fair. So you just dropped another new single. How's that been going?
So great. It's called Souvenirs of Love, and it's just the most catchy song. And I've been waiting so long to have it out there because I just know you can jam to it in the car. You can jam to it when you're getting ready. And it's a breakup song. So is that possible? But it's possible. And I'm just really proud of it. And it was just a really fun song that we got to write.
Nice. And how long has this one kind of been in the works?
We wrote it a year and a half ago, so a hot minute. And the thing with when I'm releasing new music, because I'm a Swiftie, I always want to release 13 songs at a time as an album. And so basically when I get to about that number of, and I mean, there's more, but when I get to, I'm like, okay, no, these are 13 releasable Allison Asarch songs. Mm-hmm. Then I'm like, okay, let's go. And so this was, when we wrote it, I was like, y'all, I have to cut this one. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. And then when we took it to the studio, it came to life because it's such a blast. It's such a fun one.
Nice. I think it would have almost been very funny if you released it a week earlier and done it on Valentine's Day.
For sure. And it was kind of in that realm. February still, the season of love is the month of love. So I felt like, it's all good.
Right. Fair enough. So where are you kind of at in your release strategy for the month? Because I know we had you on early January, or not early January, mid-January. Dang.
I know, right? It's almost March. I know. Right? It's so crazy. I know. So yes, this is my second of 3 singles being released and then the album in April. So I'll have one more single at the end of next month and then all 13. So 10 songs that you haven't heard yet will be out.
Nice. Well, I seem to think that your dog needs a little bit more attention.
I know. She is trying to grab a toy, and if she grabs it, she's going to be making really loud noises. So this is just what we're going to have to deal with.
That's fair. You know what, though? She seems very quiet for the most part right now because
she is.
I've had several different situations where dogs just pant and do all these things into the mic.
Right. Yes.
You don't necessarily hear them right away until you take it into editing, and it's like, oh, that's annoying.
Yes. And then I have my other dog on my lap too. She's like right here. Yes.
Fun.
And so she's the one who started with a toy, and I was like, oh no. And then she found another one. Like, oh, I can't win. I can't win.
Nope. Just gonna end this one now. So.
Yep.
So how's so obviously you've got a new single out and you're in the process of releasing the album,
Yeah.
3 singles at a time. I'm pretty sure we talked about that a little bit, but how's the prep work for the album release been? Are you like still fine tuning stuff, or is it like done, sealed, delivered, ready to go?
Done, sealed, delivered, ready to go. I am in the process of like figuring out how to. So this song is called Souvenirs of Love, but the album is also called Souvenirs of Love, because most of the songs, it just kind of worked like that. I'm just very proud of that. So using that as a way to market and girlies, please stop. Girlies. Thank you. You can come lay down. Thank you. Okay. Sorry.
You're good.
But I am trying to think of different things that involve souvenirs, or figuring out how to get people to maybe make like luggage tags or something to be like a souvenir, and like kind of place them around Nashville or do something like that for an easy, fun way for me to get the word out about the album. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and I wish it was just as easy to be like, boom, here's the album and it's done. You know what I mean? Like I have I'm working with a marketing team to help me get the music out there through Spotify ads and like through Instagram and Facebook ads, and all of it costs a lot of money.
Oh yeah, it does.
It's so silly, but it's the only way to know that I can find my true fans and find the people that I know who need to hear the music. So I've been just doing so much work over the past almost, I'd say maybe 6 or 7 months, just trying to figure out, what songs I want, like the 3 singles. That took forever. And then finalizing just the track list of the album. And luckily I had all the artwork done last April. So I've been sitting on that since April, and now finally, putting all of those photos out. But I mean, it's just been a really, really cool experience, because this is my second album, and just being able to say that I have a second album is really cool, and people are excited about it, and just having new music to listen to. It's been a few years, so giving the people what they want makes me happy.
Yeah, for sure. Are the artwork and everything for everything moving forward, is it all going to kind of follow the same aesthetic of, it's not really a Polaroid look, but that's the first thing that kind of comes to my mind when I see it.
I like that idea. I think I'm going to keep that idea for when the album comes out. For the most part, yes, I'm all in the same outfit, and the whole aesthetic is very much similar. And that was something we talked about too when I was talking with the person that I work with about like management consulting. She was saying, we want to make it cohesive. So that way it's not just like you're in a field, you're just taking a picture by a lake, like making sure it all works together. And so I didn't do that for the last album. So I'm excited and that's another thing too, is I love to learn, and I just feel like I have been learning so much from people, and the industry changes every day. So we just, never know what's next, what's going on. So, but yeah,
it's a whole thing for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny, because I was thinking about it this morning. It was like, I've had this like lot of theory on how if I were ever a musician, like releasing music, how I would go about promoting single to single. I like not every
Hmm.
single, but it would be like one way to do it and apply it through all singles, right?
Right.
And it's just kind of fun to think about because my brain kind of works weird like that, where it's like
Uh-huh.
these hypothetical situations, and it's quite interesting to go like study how other people have promoted and released their singles. Like you'd mentioned, not a lot of people take into to consideration that like cohesiveness from single to single, if it's all leading to a bigger project, is like very important.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, it kind of is. You need to
Yeah.
kind of take that into consideration. It's okay to be a little bit different, like because I don't
Right.
think you necessarily want like the exact same cover album, at least for the
Exactly.
singles. But
Right.
you know, um, it's given me something a lot, really a lot to think about because it's like I feel like people need guidance in that
Right.
way of
For sure.
you know
Yeah.
just because it like I feel like a lot of that information that I've just kind of garnered over the years of working with musicians of like different ways and like what they've seen work, what they haven't seen work. And it's like I feel like it all sits behind like some weird paywall. And it's
Right.
like, oh, like don't put it behind a paywall. Nobody's gonna buy it because it sounds like a
Exactly.
scam. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
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 And just figuring out too, like knowing whatever your album is going to be,
Hmm.
choosing like a color palette I
Hmm.
never thought of. And my my producer like thought of that as we were figuring out just the album in general. And so it was just kind of fun to like go through all the different color palettes that would come up and then be like, huh, maybe that resonates with the album. So that's what I went with and chose, and I'm proud of it. It's different than my first album because my first album is basically just purple, and
Hmm.
this album is kind of more blues and teals and champagne colors, a little more mellowy because I feel like the music that it all is in that kind of realm. And I thought
Hmm.
that was really interesting to kind of put all of that together.
Yeah, for sure. It honestly, I don't think a lot of people even think about color. Like when you're thinking about a audible medium like
Right,
music, a visual aesthetic doesn't really come into play. And it
right,
like this day and age, well, I mean, in music in general, it needs to be because like even back when they were doing like vinyls and whatnot, like it needed to this album art needed to match
right.
what the song was about.
Yes, definitely.
So
Yeah.
but so the the album that's coming out is coming out in April. Have you officially announced the date for that yet, or?
April 25th. I don't think I've like officially announced, but I've said it a lot. But yeah,
Okay,
so Friday, April 25th, which also happens to be my husband's birthday, but he
nice,
let me share, so that was nice.
nice.
And yeah, I'm excited about it. And I still am I need to figure out where the album release show will be,
Mhm.
but that will be a thing. So
I think
I'll
you
be
just need to come
somewhere.
down to
So
Texas.
I do need to come down to Texas and we will make that happen.
Fair, fair, fair. I mean, I was going to say you need to just have the album release show in Texas, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm always selling Texas. That's like my new thing now because I've been, I don't know, like I'm getting very grumpy lately for some
Yeah.
just at the industry for no apparent reason, and it's like, no, everybody come to Texas. Like, forget this. Let's go.
Hmm.
So.
No, 100%.
Right.
Yes.
So with the album getting ready to come out and everything's like starting to really feel real, like with the release, what's kind of running through your mind right now?
I think when I have it physically in my hand, because my grandparents are very much like, we just want the physical copy so we can put it in the car. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll get there. So when I have that in my hand, I think it'll be more real. But I what's been so exciting and cool is seeing people react to the new songs, and they're loving it. And I nanny and babysit, and a few of my families are texting me and they're like, oh my gosh, these kids are literally jamming to your new song. They
Nice.
love it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, because it is fun. It's a great song. But that's what it's about. You want your music to resonate with people, and you want people to, discover you and learn about you, but also, just I think as a songwriter, as an artist, it's just very important to be able to make those connections with people. And these songs are so good. So I'm really excited to have those people get to be like, get to resonate with the music. And my next single that comes out is nominated for a songwriter award for the Rocky Mountain Songwriter Contest. So I'll be in Montana in June to do that contest, which I'm very excited about. And just, the music is so important to me, and so it means so much to me. So I know that when people react to it in a good way, I'm like, okay, we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing. This is the right path. Yes.
100%. Just side note, really quick. When you deliver that physical copy to your grandparents,
Yeah.
make sure a friend, your husband, whoever is filming that, because
Oh yeah.
even if it's before the release, that's something that works really well as a promotional tool on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And just kind of like, if in my head, it's like, if it's before the release, maybe just like underlay the instrumental to one of the songs that nobody's heard yet.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get them somewhat familiar with another song without, so.
That's a good idea. I like that idea.
So are you doing just CDs, or are you doing vinyl as well?
I can do vinyl, but I'm going to wait a year until I do vinyl. So it'll be like a year release vinyl, just because it's too expensive. So, I mean, I can, crowd fund for it and do all the pre-sales, which then would pay for said vinyl. But
Fair.
I don't need all of that in my house right now.
Right. I made that mistake a couple years ago where I was like, oh, I've got a little bit of extra money, so I'm going to get some like merch and stuff, like get some like little things to hand away when we're at festivals or events or whatever. And now it's like, I don't have anywhere to put this stuff. Like it's just kind of collecting.
Yes.
Taking up space. So.
Yes. Yep. That's what happened. So I'm hoping, sooner or later my merch will keep going through, but this is kind of how it goes. But you need the merch because that's how you really make money. So, it's just one of those, it's just never ending.
That's fair. It's one of those things where it's just like, there's so many tricks to the trade right now. Like there's so many different ways to make money. You just got to figure out which one works for you and your people.
Right.
Like I tried to do like print on demand stuff. Like I found a company that would just like, you order it online and it prints it on demand. So I don't have to, it costs a little bit more. Like I only get like maybe 22% of whatever it is. Which that's fine if I don't got to care, if I don't have to come up with the money up.
Right. Yeah.
But the issue I'm having right now is I ordered my first test print, not my first test print. I ordered a test print for something else that I was or for a shirt that I was working on. And I was like, okay, let me try it out, because I don't move a whole lot of merch. It's just, I don't push it either. So, but, so I was just like, well, let me order a shirt and just kind of get through the paces a little bit, just to kind of see what it's all about, just kind of experience it from the user or from the purchaser's end. I made an order back in October, I still haven't gotten the shirt.
Oh,
And I've emailed them twice. They're like, "Oh, it's in queue. We're just so backlogged right now." And I'm like,
yikes.
"You realize it's almost March? Like, is like
That's a
if
long time.
I'm the one that's like running this page, so I get it. But if somebody like say somebody actually wanted to go order a shirt and it took 6 months, that's going to be a problem.
Yes, exactly. They're
Like,
gonna forget that they ordered it, and then it will come in the mail and be like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's right. That's funny."
that or after 3 weeks, they're going to be messaging me being like, "Hey, I ordered this shirt.
True.
Where is it?"
True. Yes.
You
Yeah.
know? And so it's like I'm at this point now where I'm just like going to take it all down. And I've got some local friends that own like printing presses and whatnot, and just be like, what can you do for a small batch just so I don't have to carry a whole bunch of overhead right now?
Hmm. Hmm.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like the dangers and pitfalls of trying to find a way to make everything work.
Right.
So,
And that's the thing. You would never know though unless you try. You really have to just kind of keep putting yourself involved into different things, and then
mhm.
if that one didn't work, well, that's just
Right.
kind of how it goes. But
Right. Because when I was doing stuff through because we used to, during the pandemic, I was hosting a website and they had a print on demand situation through
uh-huh.
that. Like, so basically on the back end of the website, I just set up a print on demand. And I used to get orders through that all the time where it was like,
Right.
I ordered a few things off of it just for me. So I had some of my own merch. And it was like, 3 weeks and I had it. And this is like dead middle of the pandemic, like the
Right.
worst part of the pandemic, and still 3 weeks I had it. And everybody I talked to that ordered was like, "No, man, it was cool. Wasn't a big thing." I'm like, "All right, great." And then I switched over to this new place because I still have my URL, but I just couldn't justify spending $150 on my website.
Right.
Yeah, and I was just like, "Oh, that's a bit of a monthly bill right there."
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I switched over to this thing, and I'm like, yeah, I think we're gonna have to stop this one. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
That's all right.
yeah,
Yeah, we live and
yeah.
learn.
Yeah. So, what kind of merch are you doing right now? Like, what do you?
So I don't have new merch yet, but I do have two shirts. I have a tequila shirt from Thank You Tequila
Mhm.
that says thank you," like a thank you bag. Tequila for being my friend tonight. Those are, I only have like smalls and mediums left of those. And then I've got all the sizes of my Texas to Tennessee shirt, which is the album cover on the front and then the track list on the back. I am in the process of figuring out some merch for Souvenirs of Love, the album in general. Just trying to think of like maybe koozies and, just easy things, hats like that everyone's into right now. So again, it's all about like where I'm gonna put everything,
Right.
but and then I have CDs of Texas Tennessee, and then I will have CDs of Souvenirs of Love. So
Of course, of course.
yeah.
The one thing I've seen, I went to a golf tournament not too long ago, and they've got these can koozies. It's too far away. I'm not going to go get up and get it, but they got these can koozies that have a magnet on the back. So like it's meant more for golfing, so
Yeah.
that like when you're driving, you can
Uh-huh.
sit it on the side of the
Right.
golf cart and it's not going to go anywhere.
That's funny.
And
That's
it's
smart.
like it took me for like we were driving down the fairway and I just was like set it on like this one pole that it was metal and it just sat there for an hour and a half, didn't move, didn't budge, didn't do anything. I was like, that's a strong magnet right there,
Yeah, that's nice.
right? So,
That's a
um,
good one.
yeah, it's like there's so much cool stuff out there right now, and
Hmm.
like, and I think it's one of those deals where a lot of musicians are just kind of afraid to take that risk of trying
Right.
something different,
Right.
just because if you spend $500 on, I don't know, lanyards maybe,
Right.
and nobody buys them, it's like, I get it. I 100% get it. So,
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, throwing things out into the world, trying to think of what would be good ideas for merch specifically and stuff like that. But yeah, it's all
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. So, Souvenirs of Love is out now, the single, not the album.
Correct.
And then you've got another single coming out the end of March. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, and that song is called Big Apple Red, and it's based on a true story by me. I was getting my nails done. This is chrome Big Apple Red, but I only wear Big Apple Red. And I was at the nail salon, and the woman next to me for sure had dementia or Alzheimer's, something. She was with her daughter, but she like kept asking the same questions to her nail artist, like, is what color did you choose my right like, is this my color, just and I had to write that night, and I told them the story. I was like, I just feel like we need to talk about this, and I'm obsessed with that song. And so it's very exciting to kind of hit that world of Alzheimer's and dementia, and it speaks really beautifully for how people who have that, they still, the lyrics are, she still shows up, she looks her best, the rings, the hair, her favorite dress, but she knows something's wrong, she can't quite put her finger on, and just like, it's just, oh, it gets you in the feels.
Yes.
And my great grandmother, who she was like 105, maybe
Oh,
106
well.
when she died, but like her last 10 years, she would, say the same things over and over again, but she did wear she always looked her best, and she told the same stories, but we loved the stories that she told. And she was just an amazing woman. And so kind of, I like brought her into it in a way. And I'm just really proud of the story that we created. And another reason why I love being a songwriter. And
Right.
that one's nominated for a songwriting award, which is really exciting and cool.
Right. That's like, I think that's when music is like, or music and songwriting in general is just kind of at its purest form, when it's just like, it goes from literally being an experience you just had to a song, and then you figure out a way to relate it to a personal situation.
Yeah.
That's just really cool. Yeah.
Thanks. But yes, also.
Yes. I don't know. Is just like hearing you draw the connections between all of it. It's like I would just love to sit there and watch you like put a song together and just kind of figure like put the connections together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, you know, always interesting, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, it is. It's so cool because there's so many ways to write a song and so many things that can happen. But it just was one of those really cool things where I was like, so this happened to me today. I don't know if we should write about it. And they were like, no, yeah, let's go.
Nice. So, who are you writing with usually? Is it like the same group of people, or do
It
you?
depends. So, I right now I kind of write with the same people. I need to get better about going out to write more, but when I say that, I mean I need to go writers rounds more to network and continue to write. But yes, so like a certain couple of people, when we write, we would then like will continue to write, and then I just have so many friends that are in the industry that I'm like, why have we not written together before? Let's write. So it's just kind of depends on where I'm at and stuff. But yeah, so all of the music on the album, I feel like there are a lot of songwriters that I wrote with,
So
which is great though.
that kind of brings up an interesting question that
Yeah.
I'm sure we could dive a bit into. Like, when do you kind of have that realization that, okay, I need to start writing with new people? Is it like once you kind of finish a couple of songs, or you go to like a write or two and it's like it's not really getting anywhere? Like,
Correct.
where do you kind of draw that line of like, okay, I need to Go
Yeah,
find
so
one.
this one's fun. So you don't know when you start writing, you really don't know who you're writing with, and every write is most likely a therapy session because it can we literally blurt out our hearts, everyone, and like you're giving each other ideas and you're trying to figure out, like, okay, do I want to say this idea out loud with this crew? Is this going to work? Or do I keep this idea to myself because I know maybe someone else will want to write this one in a different way? And yeah, it's definitely one of those things when you start writing with someone, you kind of have to be like, I don't know if that was good. Is this okay? Blah, blah, blah. And like once you start writing with someone over and over again, it goes by a lot faster, and you kind of can figure out who does what. So one person can be a melody person, one person is a lyricist, one person does it all, one person is like can play an instrument and figure some like come in with a like a riff of some sort. Like a person I write with, his name's Hunter. He's great. He is a bassist, and like he like will just have a melody, and he'll be like, okay, what should we write with this? And I'm like, oh, this is fun. And so that's totally different than when I'm with other writes where we're like, okay, this is an idea I have. This is an idea I have. This is like all of us kind of, saying our ideas and then being like, well, I don't really want to write a ballad tonight. I think we want to write a sassy song.
Yeah.
Great. So it's all about your mood and what's going on in the world and just like how everyone's life is. And that's also why songwriting is so amazing, because it can be anything. And,
Yeah.
like I said, there's so many writes where I've written some songs where I'm like, I'm not going to cut that song, but I love that song, but that's not for my audience. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things when you have to, once you kind of continue to write with the same people, and like when we all feel comfortable to be like, okay, yeah, no, I like what we're doing. Yes, let's keep going.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Nice.
And then when you have to stop writing with people, that's not fun. But yeah, that's a whole different story.
Fair enough. Because I didn't know if there was like, because I'm assuming like songwriting is probably similar in a lot of ways to like filmmaking or whatever. Like once there's a line that it's like, okay, it's time to freshen things up a little bit and get new blood in here. And I'm sure it changes from situation to situation where it's like,
And a good thing or a good example of this too is when we're songwriting, we are not getting paid. We are getting it is a free thing that we are doing with our time to create music that we hope will make us $1. So when you're writing with people and literally, and the songs either aren't that great or you're just not vibing like you are with other artists, you gotta, take that step to be like, hey, we're great friends, but I don't want to write with you anymore.
Right.
And it's just one of those things that happen, but that's how you got to think about it. That, you got to think about you and your music and who you are as an artist. And when you're writing songs, are they going well? Is it not going well? Did it finally go well, but it took 3 writes? Like what are the common themes that are happening? So just being able to figure out who you are as an artist to then be like, I enjoy you as a human, but I'm going in a different direction type thing.
Right. And is it more of like that? I'm guessing that's just like more of a creative vibe. You're not clashing in the right ways.
Yes. Yeah. Could be that. Could be other people are brought into the room and you're like, no, what is happening? But yes.
Right.
Yes.
Fair. When you kind of set your mind to like the idea of, okay, I'm working towards an album. Let's say you're working on album 3.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, or do you find yourself trying to find some consistency in your writing as far as like who you're writing with? Or do you feel like, no, I'm the consistency and just bringing other people in adds like the different flavors or hints or whatever?
So Yes. When I write, I'm not necessarily writing for a project. When it's towards the end of me finishing, like knowing I have a good chunk,
Hmm.
I'll probably bring it up like, hey, this might not, but I might want this
Hmm.
on the album.
Yeah.
Said album that's not happening yet. Like,
Right.
I think of my album, I think I had like 4 or 5 songs that made it that I wrote 3 months before
Hmm.
we recorded. And there are like one song we wrote in 2020 that's on there. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. But right now, since I'm already like my project is going to be
Done.
coming out, it's
Yeah.
more of me just kind of writing with people to write. It could be for anything. And then
Hmm.
also could be for the next project that comes out in a few years. Who knows? But when I am in the idea of being like, it's time for me to release more music,
Hmm.
then my mind is more like, while I'm writing it, like, could this work? And the other thing too is I mean, I haven't necessarily done like a concept album.
Hmm.
So all the music that I write doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing. And I love that. And I think that, shows who I am as an artist and how I'm always growing and writing more and learning just techniques and stuff. But I think somehow all these songs do work together. So
Yeah.
that is a really exciting, silly part.
Yeah.
But you just never know.
Fair. Fair, fair. It's always interesting to kind of dive in on the creative process, and especially I don't tend to talk to musicians about co-writes because I feel like that could open up an interesting conversation because you go into a lot of details that probably lose a lot of people's interest or whatever. But just kind of like the idea of for musicians that have never done like co-writes or writers rooms or
Yeah,
anything like
yeah.
that, I just kind of talking to you, I felt like it might be a little bit of an interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I had no idea what a co-write was until I moved to Nashville, and
Yeah.
like I know a lot of people who don't live in Nashville don't even know what I'm talking about. But it is a huge thing here, and I am so grateful for co-writing. And I just, I'll never stop co-writing. I really
Right.
enjoy it, and I really love getting to hear other people's opinions, and also collaborating is one of my
Mhm.
favorite things.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, especially in a place like Nashville, the more co-writes you do, the more benefit it has for you because the
Right.
odds are the more odds you have of getting on a song, being in the room when a song that's created is like it could possibly go like platinum. Like
Yeah, for
that
sure.
sounds very
Yeah.
extreme, but I've seen it happen where somebody just
Right.
happens to be in the room and they're like, "Oh yeah, I was writing Jelly Roll song, like I was on
Yeah.
Jelly Roll song." And it was like, "Wait,
Hmm.
what the hell?" Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. Absolutely.
But, so it's just kind of like, especially in a city like Nashville where the industry is, it's just very beneficial to kind because you never know where that song's going to get picked up or what it's going to
Right.
do. So,
Yeah, 100%.
so what have you been doing recently? I mean, obviously preparing for the album release and the singles and all that stuff, but have you been doing anything new, fun, and exciting outside of music?
We're hoping to move just a little further out of the city. So we're figuring all of that out, and hopefully that'll be done in a few weeks, maybe, or
Yes.
month. But
Okay.
yeah, so that's going on. But
Nice.
yeah, it's been pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
All I did was move my desk. I moved my desk about 30 feet. I was
Hey, feng shui. It's a good thing,
right.
just re-moving stuff around. Absolutely.
Right. Well, because the thing was, is I got a buddy coming into town this weekend because we got that live podcast. I think I mentioned to you. And I was like, man, I really need to just like do a deep clean on this apartment because it like not a lot of, I'm usually going to people's places and not
Hmm.
a lot of people are coming here because it's small and cramped. And so I don't do a lot of like real deep cleaning. And so it's just like, I need to like deep clean this place a little bit just to get the dust and all that stuff of places.
Yes.
And so it's easier for me to just like when I do my deep cleans, I just rearrange my furniture.
Right.
It might be a problem. I'm not 100% sure.
No, it's really actually a good thing because then it makes the vibe. You're it's a whole new look. It's a whole
Right.
new everything. Yeah,
Right.
it's good.
When in my head, I was like, well, I know when my buddy gets here, we're going to do a podcast. Like, we're going to sit down, we're going to do a podcast. And the way I had everything set up before wasn't functioning for a podcast. So it's
Right.
like, all right, let's move things around and see how it goes. So that,
Yeah.
that's my life in a nutshell right there. Keep on moving until you find the right thing.
It's a good motto.
Yeah. I'm glad your dogs have finally calmed down a little bit.
I know. They are asleep next to me for now.
For now. For now. Now that I mentioned them, it's the head sticks up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So kind of looking forward, obviously you'd mentioned that you're trying to figure out the release show and all that stuff. How often are you playing right now? Are things starting to finally pick up a bit in Nashville?
Yes. I play Saturday at a restaurant here in Mount Juliet, and then I'll be back in Florida again for a few weekends, and then hopefully I'll be doing a couple gigs around town when I get back. I'm doing a kid's birthday party, which I do too. So got that lined up. Oh, and a house show. Yes. So that's great. My first house show I'm very, very, very excited about. And yeah, things are definitely looking up. I'm obviously going to be in Montana in June. So I'm so excited for that. And then I'll see what is around the bend. But I'm excited.
Right. The only time I ever went to Montana was in July. And when we left, it was like midnight, and everybody was like, you guys brought coats and stuff, right? Because it's like 40 degrees outside.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like,
Wow.
no, we didn't bring anything because it's July. They're like, yeah, man, it's like 40 degrees outside right now, and it's not going to get any warmer. And I'm like, all right, well, so just a little side note for you.
Good. I will think about it. I will pack correctly. I will
Or at least a sweatshirt.
check the weather. Yep.
Or at least a sweatshirt if you're going to be out and about in the evenings.
Right. Right.
So, but yeah, other than that, anything else new and exciting going on other than the potential move or upcoming move?
No, we're just hanging out.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Oh, wait, there was something that I wanted to bring up because I don't think we talked about it the last time. And now because I put myself on the spot, I'm not going to remember what it is, but I will find it here really quick. Oh, yes. Sing on Netflix. Did we talk about that?
I don't think we have.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never heard of it. So
okay, great. I will gladly tell you all about it because they didn't market it well. But anyway, Sing On is a karaoke game show on Netflix.
Nice.
And we filmed it in 2019, so pre-COVID. They flew us to London, and we were there for 3 days, maybe. Mm-hmm. And my episode is the 80s decade episode.
Nice.
And spoiler alert, I win. And that helped fund my first album and a couple music videos and photo shoots, which now looking back, I did not need to spend all the money that I did, but it's okay. You know, we live and we learn.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. What's the thing? We something and we don't judge. We listen and we don't judge.
We don't judge. Yep.
But it was such a cool experience. Titus Burgess is the host, and he's a character and so kind. And it was just so silly of an experience for me, but I'm so grateful that it happened. And basically how I found out about it was when I moved to Nashville, I had an app. I was on the app called Meetup, like Meetup if you do this and this. I never did anything. I never went to any one of those, but I randomly got an email that said, like, do you like to sing? Do you like to have fun? Do you like to karaoke? You should audition for this show. And I've done The Voice. I've done Idol. So I was like, okay, why not? I've done all of this before. Yeah. And I went in, It was obviously totally different, a lot smaller. And we sang a couple karaoke songs and sang then one of our own songs, and not originals, but like not a karaoke song. But they loved me, and I was like, this is new. This is not how I've been treated before, in a good way, but I was like, this is okay. So then like it was on and off calls, like with talking to people in LA, and just like, and they were like, can you do this? Can you do that? And they all knew that we were on the show. They just didn't tell us until like we were sent. It was a weird thing, but every episode like has a different group of people. And when we were there was one other episode that was in a hotel with us. So I assume they did like 2 episodes a weekend or something, but it was just such a silly, fun time in the middle of London.
Nice. And it's so wild that they flew you out to London to film, but they're based out of LA.
Right. Yeah. So I don't quite understand, but it was a company in London.
Okay. But got it.
We had casting through LA. It was wild. It was
fair.
It was crazy. And we all thought it was going to blow up and, become famous and everything. It just did not. And that's fine. Titus did do a couple PR things, but again, it was COVID. So it was all online. No one really was thinking anything of it. But, I mean, there are a couple people from Nashville that were on the show that I met. I still see them around. But yeah, no, it was wild. Our episode 2 was great. Everyone, we used to talk all the time. We used to message, but they're doing really great things.
Nice. That's cool. I will definitely go check it out then, because
it's fun.
I feel like if Netflix really wanted to push it, especially during the pandemic, with like the rise of Tiger King early in the pandemic.
Floor is Lava. Yeah, I know. It's like it should have been up there.
Netflix really had all the attention, at least the first 6 months of the pandemic.
Yep. So. And yes, but also it is a Netflix original, so it's never going to leave Netflix. So that's pretty cool.
Nice. That's cool. So you were on, you said episode 8. Was there
episode 6?
6. Okay.
80s decade episode.
There it is. Okay. Episode 6. So was there like a finale that all the winners got to come back to, or was
no? But it was in our contract that if we won, and they were to do that, we would have to go. Okay. So I signed that, but again, it didn't, get big. Maybe it will now. Who knows? Maybe it'll just come on back. It's one of those things where I'm like, oh, maybe it'll somehow come back on the top 10 or something.
Right. Maybe Netflix will actually decide, oh, hey, music is kind of relevant.
Right.
So let's push it. So I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But once again, I absolutely always enjoy chatting with you. It's been a great time. If you ever want to come back on, please, we'll definitely get that set up.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to check out your music, new single, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
AllisonAsarch.com. You can also follow me on all the socials at Allison Asarch Official, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all the things, Tidal, all the things. You just search Allison Asarch and you'll find me.
Fair. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Live and Amplified's Indie Fusion podcast. If you'd like to support anything Live and Amplified does, please follow us on all of our social media platforms at Live, the letter N, Amplified. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, any of them, all of them, at Live, the letter N, Amplified. And if you would like to buy any official Live and Amplified merch, you can do so at our merch shop. Link in the description below. Once again, thank you all. Have a great day.